This week, we are talking about different ways to eat that can help you to overcome certain symptoms. We're going to try to break it down a little bit. The first way of eating is called the elimination diet. We talked about what it is, the foods to avoid and the foods to include. Today, I want to talk about why you would even consider doing an elimination diet. I will tell you that most people that walk through my door, no matter what their symptoms are, whether it's fatigue, brain fog, anything, fibromyalgia, anything, we start here. That is because a lot of the things that we eat can damage our gut. It can cause something that we've talked about before called leaky gut or intestinal permeability. Food that belongs in the digestive tract can come through the lining of the gut and into the bloodstream and set off a whole cascade of symptoms. Our immune system really can be affected because it creates antibodies. And those antibodies create symptoms because it thinks that we're under attack. They see something called a foreign invader, an antigen, and they make something to go after it to bring it under control. It's what it's supposed to do when we get exposed to viruses and bacteria and other illnesses. In this case, it's responding that way because of food. If you're someone that has gas, bloating, constipation, all the gut issues, but you also might have joint pain, headaches, brain fog, fatigue, you're having skin issues, autoimmune kind of things, those are all really, really good reasons to start the elimination diet and see which, if any, probably several of the foods that you're eating might be causing your symptoms. I want to emphasize the gut-brain connection. We know that our gut is like our second brain. We make neurotransmitters there, we make hormones there, and 70% of our immune system in our gut. When we have food sensitivities, they can trigger that whole cascade and create inflammation, and they can actually worsen chronic illness. Let's talk about the difference between food allergies and food sensitivities. So I talked about antibodies. We have 5 different kinds of antibodies. The ones that I'm talking about are not IgE antibodies. Those are the ones that cause true allergies. That's like if I get stung by a bee and I swell up with hives and my throat swells shut, that's a true allergic reaction. That's not what we're talking about. Food sensitivities are IgG antibody responses. Those are the kind of antibodies that are created even after we have been exposed to something like the flu or strep throat. We have IgM antibodies that come out right away that help us to initiate a response against that illness, whatever it is, virus or bacteria. And then the IgG antibodies come out later. Our body does something very similar to these foods that end up in the bloodstream, and it makes IgG antibodies. And so it doesn't create the hives. It can create hives if there's histamine response, but it doesn't create that true blue allergy. It creates these vague kind of chronic inflammation kind of symptoms. When we remove those foods from our diet, those antibodies start to decrease in number. When we start to remove those foods, the antibody production goes down. After 3 weeks, a lot of them go away. After 3 months, most of them should go away if we have completely removed the big 5 culprit foods and some other things that we talked about. The whole point is we remove the foods that are causing the symptoms, and then we gradually add back in foods one at a time to see, oh, if I start having symptoms again, I know that I really should keep that out of my diet for a while. It's not meant to be a forever thing unless you've got profound sensitivities, which some people do have to remove certain things for a long time, but others can be added back in with no problem. In the beginning, I couldn't eat eggs at all. Then after I removed them for such a long period of time, I was able to then add them back in, no problems. I didn't have any symptoms because all those antibodies went down. I was also working on healing my gut. There was all kinds of things that I was doing to support my health and reduce inflammation. Then I was able to eat eggs. Sometimes we can add those back in safely, no problem. Sometimes we have to keep them out for a while. I kept trying and had symptoms. It took a little bit of time. Everybody's different. It's custom to you. You are the one that removes everything, and you're the one that keeps track of what triggers those symptoms and what is safe to add back in. Research shows that these elimination diets can help to improve autoimmune, irritable bowel, even mental health because of the gut-brain connection between the neurotransmitters. If you found any value in this, I would love you to like this video, comment below if you realize that something was causing your symptoms. Hope you found value in this, and I'll see you in the next video.